Every used car has a story. At Windsor Certified, all ours have a happy ending. Buy used with confidence. Windsor, drive happy.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Ollie Campbell Park on a slightly cooler Saturday evening. This game between Old Belvedere, and today they've welcomed and are hosting Cooke. Cooke currently 8th in the AIL Division 1. Belvedere looking to cement their place in the top 4. Currently 3rd. And as the sun goes down and with the changing of the hours, the floodlights are on and Cooke have taken to the field. And we're just waiting now for Belvedere to join us and we can get this game underway. I'm joined in the commentary box today, once again, by Hayley. Good afternoon, Hayley. How are you today?
Good afternoon. How are you getting on? And I'm looking forward to this game. Should be a good contest. It's always a battle between these two, regardless of who's above the other in the table. It always comes out as a cracking fixture. There's always a good bit of fight between the two teams. So yeah, no, looking forward to this one.
Well, the last time Cooke were here, of course, in 2021, they ran Belvedere close, 28-21 on that occasion. And then in 2022, well, Belvedere had a bit more of it with a 65-0 victory. So Cooke will be looking back a couple of years and hoping to really put it up to Belvedere today. Belvedere welcome back a couple of players who were out at the WXV3 and also have a couple of changes on the side. Any comments there on that one, Hayley, as the side scrolls past?
Yeah, it's great to see. I mean, the likes of Niamh O'Dowd coming back in. It's great to have her back in the squad. She was a relatively new recruit for Old Belvedere a few years ago, coming up through the J1 system, working her way through, and now being involved in the Irish setup. It's fantastic to see. She's, great credit to the club, and she's doing great things. And the likes of Ruth Campbell as well. She's moved across from Barnhall this season. Another great player to have in the club. So it's great to see these players back and see the impact they'll make for the black and white jersey.
Well, Belvedere have now reached the pitch, and it won't be long before we're underway. Both of these sides competing well in the league at the moment. Cooke, well, they haven't managed to record their first victory yet, and they'll be looking for that today. They've been scoring at about 6.5 points a game, and that's something they'll be looking to improve on. Whereas Belvedere, after that opening day loss to Blackrock, have had 3 bonus point wins on the trot, and that's pushed them back up into the top 3, where they're just a point ahead of Blackrock and a resurgent Ballincollig, really. They're doing well to get up there too.
Yeah, you can see there at the table, it's starting to pan out now nicely. UL Bow sitting at the top there with 5 bonus points wins on the trot as well, and like that, then Railway, Belvo, Rock. It's kind of the same top 4 that have been for the last kind of 2-3 years now, and it's, you see Regions dropping down. Regions were doing really well the last couple of seasons, and it's a pity to see them kind of dropping, but I do think they're going to have a resurgence then back with their players coming back from international duty as well, and the likes of that. So you can see the players who are taking the pitch, and we've got the 3 referees. We've got Dara Hanratty on the near touchline, Dudley Phillips up the middle, and we've got Arthur Dupont on the far side as well. So again, a very experienced team of 3 as well in the middle. So I think it's going to be a good contest.
Well, we look forward to a cracking game here. Just to note, Naomi McCord, number 6 on the Cooke side. She's making a comeback after doing her ACL last October, so great for her and great for Cooke to see her back on the field. Well, Belvedere will be kicking off, and it'll be Gemma Farrell, the leading point scorer for Belvedere this year with 28 from the 4 games played. And she'll be the one kicking off as Belvedere playing from left to right in this first half.
Nice evening for a bit of rugby as well. I think it's holding up dry for now anyway, but the ball will be slippy, but the wind has died down as well, so I think it's going to be a nice evening for it.
Well, underway, the kick over to the right-hand side, the near side, well fielded by Cooke, and making a couple of yards, staying on her feet, and making the ball available. That's a super start from Cooke, really securing that first ball. That's exactly what they would have wanted to do. Taking the ball from the set piece into the middle of the field. Belvedere cover up very quickly. But it doesn't stop Cooke making another 10 yards as they push them all forwards. Go back again. Big driving run near the 10-yard line. Just pushing it out the back line, and unfortunately just a small knock on, but a good start from Cooke. They'll be encouraged by that.
Definitely. I think they're just trying to play through the hands, get the confidence built up, test the Belvedere defence, see if there's any kind of weak links in there as well. And you can see it there, just trying to punch it up, keep it patient, keep it tight, keep it tidy. And yeah, it's definitely looking tidy anyway from the get-go. We'll see how the first scrum pans out.
Well, the unfortunate knock-on by Cooke, giving Belvedere this attacking scrum halfway between the 22 and the 10-metre line. Just left of the posts, gives Belvedere plenty of room on the open side, but also quite a large blind side should they decide to exploit that as well.
Yeah, you can see Megan Edwards there has stepped off that blind wing, so they're happy to step all across the one side of the pitch.
Farrell giving it out, centre, and there is the winger popping up on the other side, and it goes all the way across the line, and it's forced into touch, and in fact a knock-on given by the ref. No ref link today. I believe the ref feeling that his voice and sinus is perhaps not quite up to communicating his decisions to us.
Yeah, it was a good carry there. You can see the play. They definitely practiced that one in the training ground. All right, you can see there trying to use Megan Edwards' speed there, bringing her in off the blind side, bringing her in into a bit of open play, trying to get that ball then eventually over to Emma Tilley, because we know how explosive and dangerous she can be on that wing. So you can see what they were trying to do, but Cooke also could see what they were trying to do. So they shut that down nice and neatly, nice and quickly. So another scrum here again to Cooke.
Well, Emma Tilley, she's 3 tries in this campaign already. Top scorer, joint top scorer for the Belvedere side. She'll be looking to add to that tally today. Now Cooke with a defensive scrum right on the 22. And this would be a big test for their front 8. And again, beautifully secure, picked up at the back, driven into midfield, right down the 10 channel. Again, not looking for the kick, not looking for the safety of the touchline, retaining possession, keeping the ball in hand. And now kick down towards the halfway line. It's allowed bounce once before Donnelly passes it on. Emma Tilley showing her pace in midfield. Ball available again, going out to the left, and almost an interception. It's picked up. And the referee deciding that just a slight knock-on in the pickup, but Belvedere were lucky to get away with that.
Yeah, Cooke definitely were hungry for that one, and they put the pressure on. They forced that knock-on there on the outside channel. Ruth Campbell maybe just going to take a quick look up just to see where that support line was coming out to her. I think she just rushed that pass ever so slightly to her. So you could see it there. That was what was happening there. She was trying to get it away, just couldn't get it away quick enough. A bit more accuracy would have helped. And I think 2 strong carries there in the middle of the pitch from McCamley and McCord from Cooke definitely gave them that kind of attacking platform. So Cooke are looking dangerous out there, and Belvo don't need to not give them an inch, really.
Well, it was Laura Cairns who nearly picked that one up for Cooke and was nearly away with it. She played at out half in the last game Cooke played, and in fact the out half played at full back, so a few shuffles in the Cooke back line today. But again, Laura Cairns just unfortunate in trying to pick that one up. Break in play for an injury here now, and both sides taking the opportunity to have a few quiet words about how the start of the game has gone. Still inside the first 5 minutes, and it will be our 3rd scrum of the afternoon.
Yeah, you can just see McCord there limping off. So after her strong carry, I think she must have landed awkwardly there on her knee. It seems like it's already heavily strapped, so must have just landed a bit more awkwardly on and done a bit more damage. And that was unfortunate to see, especially so early on in the game. So I think they have a sub there now. Number 17 for Cooke is coming on, Kirsty Jackson. So I'd say she wasn't expected to come on before 5 minutes, but hopefully she can slot right in and get going on the front foot.
Well, as we said at the start, Naomi McCord coming back from an ACL injury, and as you said, that knee was heavily strapped, and most unfortunate that she's had to come off and is limping heavily on that knee. Well, we wish her all the best and I hope that that is but a small injury compared to the year out she had with that ACL. So scrum down just inside the Cooke half. Scrum down to Belvedere, back line all lined up again. Megan Edwards is there, gets the ball in the midfield, goes for the gap, makes the gap, gets the pass away. Donnelly out to the other winger, And that's a super bit of play from Belvedere, utilising the speed of their wingers very much so at this early stage. And that's a long, quick blast from the ref, and it's, well, Jade Gaffney it was who was looking to take that one quickly, and the referee just making sure all the players are okay and back on their feet. Tia Maguire, the last one to her feet. Offside is the call, and one suspects that Gemma Farrell's going to put this one into the corner and give Belvedere a fine attacking platform from there. Well, you can see the change in the hour has made a big difference to the playing conditions. You can see those cars in the car park, just how bright their lights are. But the floodlights here in Ollie Campbell Park doing a fabulous job. And as Hayley was saying earlier, lovely night for a game of rugby. Not too much wind, no rain, nice firm surface, but with a bit of give in it.
That's it. Exactly what you want to see. And see there's another line out here, another attacking platform for Belvedere. So see how they go from here.
Well, that was a bit poor for Belvedere. The ball was on the ground and nobody was committing to going down on it. And as a result, Cooke have managed to pull it back on their side. And they're now trying to drive up as Jenny Murphy makes the tackle. Again, going out the back line. It's another good tackle by the Belvedere defence. Forcing it back. They're looking to force Cooke into this kick. And they have managed that. And they will get a line out just outside the 22. Good defence from Belvedere.
Yeah, it was good. It was strong, and it forced Cooke there to clear their lines. It was good solid defence from Cooke in the first place, and just to not panic, because I think that was, Belvedere were in a very, very threatening position where they were. They could have very easily set up a nice set piece, but Cooke very reactive to that ball.
Now it's taken again by Cooke. They've stolen that, made a few yards. Super work from Aisling O'Connell there to not only secure the ball but also to make some yards for her side. Georgina Boyle digs the ball out, gets it further out. And Kirsty Jackson making her first real contribution to the game. Another good drive. Again, the tackle comes in. Nice stuff now by Cooke, putting together a few phases, taking the ball up, making sure it's secure, and on this occasion they've won the penalty, not rolling away, just as Jenny Murphy was scavenging in there.
Yeah, you could see there she was ready to pounce on it, but first infringement there was the Belvedere player just getting stuck in at the base of that tackle, so have to ping the first infringement first. So Jenny wasn't lucky, she was over that ball and there was no way she was going to be budged from there. So right call from the referee though, there's no rolling away, so Cooke penalty.
Well, Amanda Morton making secure her touch. It may not have got the best of distance, but she did the important thing, and that is always to make touch. It's all very well seeing the ball travelling 70 yards, but if it just falls into the fullback's hands, you'll get 40 of those hit straight back at you.
That's it, just clear the lines.
Making touch vitally important. Now Cooke have the throw into this line out. Oh, Belvedere pouring through a gap in the line. The ball was slightly overthrown, but Cooke have counter-rucked, and what a super counter-ruck that is again, but a knock-on out of it. Referee says the ball went backwards from Belvedere. And Gemma Farrell, well, she reads the game so well. She puts the ball into some space. It's bounced 4 or 5 times and now has been knocked on by Becky Irvine, the full-back. But Belvedere have recovered it. Advantage being played. And the referee deciding that, well, the second infringement means we go back for the first. But again, good play from Belvedere. But Cooke are very good at just on that loose ball at the moment.
Yeah, their rucks are really, really strong, and you've got the likes of Van Staden in there, and she'll come in and interrupt every single ruck where possible, and she's almost impossible. Once she's latched on that ball, you cannot get her off it. And that was that same thing again. She just drove over that ruck, excellent counter ruck, really, really disrupted the old Belvedere maul after them pouncing on it, and then they were able to kind of get a bit around, but unfortunately just a knock on. Belvedere then reacted, and Megan Edwards was down on it nice and quick, but like you said, it was a slight knock on, and we'll come back then for another scrum.
You may have noticed at that previous line out, the throwing in done by Megan Simpson, number 4 on the Cooke side. Unusual not to see the hooker throwing it in.
Absolutely, yeah.
Take Gaffney now with the put-in. Solid scrum again. Starting to twist, but the ball comes out first. Referee lets it go on. Oh, and just drops in a half tackle. And the referee, quite rightly, blows that one up. That was a shame because she made the initial half break. And then I suppose she was looking to offload, and that's what caused the looseness.
Yeah, and you see what Gemma was trying to do there. Had the hands free, but that's the risk you take when you get those hands free. You're trying to look for that offload. Ball's a little bit less secure, and just got lost in contact there. So I was thinking as well with the Cooke line out, I'd say it's most likely because Van Staden's probably lifting in the line out with her strength, so they probably have a different option then in for the throw in and the line out. But yeah, it's always nice to have her strength there in the pack in any capacity.
Georgia Boyce, it is the Cooke scrum half, but on this occasion, Belvedere timed their push beautifully. Ball comes back on their side, and it goes out. Tilly it is, beating a couple of players, now being brought back to the forwards, and bursting a couple of tackles and through to the line, and that's the first try for Belvedere, and greeted with big joy. Well, just broke down really, and then it was very hard to get the defence back formed behind, and Belvedere just kept going till they found the try line.
That's it, and that's the difference that the likes of Ruth Campbell can make coming back into that squad. You see, she's hungry for the try line and hungry for a bit of action in the black and white jersey again, which is always great to see. So great team play there as well. I think it was Megan Edwards with a first again, a few dinks just to get around a defender to make that defence kind of get a bit disjointed and force those gaps to be created. Ruth Campbell then, the likes of that, if she sees any sort of gap, she will take it and power through it. She's a phenomenally strong player, so physically and with the intelligence as well. So having that in a pack player is fantastic, as well as the speed. So see now if Gemma can convert the further 2 points.
Well, it's very hard to stop Ruth Campbell from a few yards out. She got the momentum going. It's going to be very difficult there. That's a super kick from Farrell, and it collects the extra 2 points. And that's a good try. Campbell's try converted by Gemma Farrell, and that makes the score 7-0 after 13 minutes.
Yeah, you can see here from the tries. It was a great ball out from Jade out to Monona. Monona just has that slight step, just gets onto the soft shoulder. Megan Edwards again using that dink, gets around one, drags another two and a third into contact. Monona over on the ruck. Jade Gaffney steps in back into Ruth. Ruth just drives through 2-3 tacklers and just dives over. Knows exactly where the try line is, dives over and dots down for the try.
Well, the lovely thing about that was the sidestep that she shows for a second row forward when she first came across the ball. And that led to that super run and try for Belvedere. 7-0 as Cooke kick off again. Belvedere seem to be hitting their straps now. Again, beautiful bit of game reading there from Gemma Farrell. One has to say, she certainly has the rugby brain.
Absolutely. She saw Marks was off her line there. Just said, let's think this over and just put the pressure back on Cooke. So once again, now Cooke find themselves in their own half on their own 10-metre line, trying to get this ball back into the Belvedere 22.
Well, Cooke taking their time to come up to the line. No huddles, of course, these days. There's a massive gap between the two sides at the moment. One suspects that they'll be stepping in now as O'Connell marks the spot. This one goes to the front of the line. Well taken by Cooke. They've shifted on quite nicely, avoiding the first two tackles. Well, the referee deciding he didn't like the events in the line out.
Yeah, I was looking at them, was kind of questioning there right, if they were spotted or right. You could see Ruth Campbell went up for the ball and it was a good lift and she was nearly had fingertips but just took that bit too much contact on the arms. You could see once the player lands, you can see the arms going up. You know they've done something they probably shouldn't have done.
And the admission of guilt sometimes.
Yeah.
You see it so often in sports where a player, a participant will turn around to the referee and say, "Am I okay?"
Yeah, probably not.
On this occasion certainly was in the negative, and the referee giving the penalty, and Cooke once again with Megan Simpson with the ball in her hand. Well, that's well weighted. You might question how straight it was, but as it is, the Belvedere defence and a wayward pass has cost Cooke 10-15 metres. Come out again on the Cooke side. Oh, that's a thumping tackle. Anytime you see the body folding up like that, you know that is a crunching tackle.
Jenny Murphy special.
Absolutely. Well, Jenny Murphy playing at number 8 today. Another one who will be using immense rugby experience. And I think she'll enjoy playing in the pack. Nice little dink forward from Cooke, but it's well fielded. The referee deciding no advantage, and he gives the penalty. And there was a high tackle in there, just slipping up around the shoulders.
I wasn't too much, see, I kind of, I hadn't trained a huge amount, and I kind of like, I'm going to damage myself if I try and push this thing. I wasn't too
Yeah, so another penalty here for Cooke now, and just at the halfway line. So see if they get a bit of meters on this, as their lineouts are working well for them. So if they can just get a good set piece from it, it seems to be kind of the breakdown afterwards. So if they could just get that a bit tidier, and I think it's credit to Belvedere's defence. They're coming straight up on them once that ball is away from the lineout. That defence line is straight up putting them under pressure. So I think if they can just take that extra step back, give themselves a bit more time on the lineout in the back of it, and see a bit more set piece structure, I think Cooke could be dangerous here.
Well, they've given themselves an attacking platform. It's beyond the 10-metre line. They're encroaching pretty much for the first time in this game into the Belvedere half. You can hear in the background that we do have a very good crowd here today now. Obviously, the Leinster game finishing. A lot of people had parked in Belvedere.
Yep.
And a lot of them parked there so they could come and watch this game after the Leinster game.
Unfortunate there, just crooked throw, I think it was, the referee is calling. So unfortunate error there. I think these are one of the ones that they'll happen in every game in some capacity. It's how you bounce back from them. So another scrum here, and I'd say it certainly won't be the last one. We'll see.
Scrummaging becoming such an important part here, and the two packs at the moment have been very even in that regard. Scrums haven't really sort of popped up, and neither side is dominated, but they've both kept their height, and that's what referees are looking for.
Yep.
Who am I telling?
Absolutely. If and as they always say, if you paint that picture and the picture looks good, you tend to be okay. So there's also then the dark arts of the front row too as well, which always sneak in.
Well, that's a good shove by Cooke. They've put a tremendous amount of pressure on the Belvedere scrum. Jenny Murphy having to go down on the ball there. They get away with resetting a scrum. The knock on from Cooke, allowing them to do this again. Belvedere won't want to go backwards like that 2 scrums in a row.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a great drive from Cooke. They just got their timing and their footing right and managed to get Belvedere on their back foot. So got them a bit messy at the back there, and they were unfortunate not to gather that ball a bit more cleanly at the back. So forcing another scrum here. So let's see how Belvedere react.
Well, Belvedere ball. Gaffney it is with ball in hand. Now, one might have thought that scrum wasn't really settled before the ball came in. But Jenny Murphy managing to pick up at the back and tidying up, staying on her feet as long as she can, waiting for the support, and it comes out. And the ball comes back to Farrell. Farrell looking for grass down the pitch, and it's Irvine it is, who just misjudged that one. It came off her shoulder. It's been picked up by the Belvedere players, streaming forward. And the referee deciding there was a forward pass, but a great opportunity for Belvedere, with Cooke looking at 6s and 7s there.
Absolutely, and an uncharacteristic mistake, would say, from Becky Irvine there, and in that full-back position. I think just they must have caught one of the floodlights was just caught her eyes as she had a look up in the sky to try and catch that ball, and just fumbled it. And then it nearly, I think from here anyway, looked like it was nearly in touch, and then Megan Edwards kind of gathers it. Just unfortunate then, tries to get that offload off to Ruth Campbell, who just goes to show her pace, that she's the second person up beside Megan Edwards, who's the fastest probably on the pitch, second to Emma Tilley.
You go, girl.
Let's go for a full sit-in meal.
Body's out. Battery up there.
Well, she mentioned it, and I was like, yeah, she did. She did. She gave us
This is my third game. Like, I mean, I don't think the only game on the women's
I'm kidding. Oh, yeah. Woo! Yeah, I know. She can't have another touch. Get her. Go, Jenny! Yes, yes! Yes! Woo!
Farrell again, not afraid to drop it onto the boot. She sees just how in field the fullback was, and she's got no time at all, has Irvine, and is chased down by the Belvedere players. The ball comes out on the Belvedere side, and Jenny Murphy, and it gets thrown out again. Leslie Ring out to another try. Had the simplest walk-ins, and suddenly Cooke will look very dejected. They have now conceded 15 points in 3 minutes, with a conversion to come once again from Farrell. Oh, that was, I suppose, Belvedere starting to show what they're capable of. They've got a solid base, and all of a sudden the score now has whipped right out.
That was a cracking try again. It was just being aware of the space, being aware of where the Cooke players were as well. I think Cooke were just again caught blindsided on the turnover there. I think see a replay here, and I think Belvedere then just managed to get that ball back out. Jenny, you can see there saying, "Give it out, give it out, give it out." Winona
just taking a breath. And the referee just having a quick word as well. You can see the Cooke players. They've huddled up. They're discussing what they want to do next. These little breaks in play, allowing people just to get their breath back. That's on the positive side. On the negative side, without running around, and maybe you start getting cold.
Absolutely. We were down playing a match last night down in Kilkenny, and any players coming off, just put a jacket on. I know you're not cold right now, but you get cold, and my God, they got cold. So that's it. It's a bitter night, and once that wind starts blowing, it's chilly.
Fresh night. Not too much of a wind here tonight. The trees and the bushes surrounding this ground pretty much steady at the moment. Steady is what Belvedere are looking for from this scrum. We've seen both scrums having superiority at different times, being on top, getting a good shove on, but most of it seems to be down to timing. The ball coming in and the shove at the same moment. But both sides have managed that, so even enough in the scrums.
Yeah, big time, yeah, and you can see it there. It's whoever gets that shove on correct, they tend to come out as the top pack.
Well, the Cooke prop going to ground. The ball comes down the blind side, and again pushed up towards Irvine, the fullback. She's taken down. And the ball coming out on the Cooke side. And now snared by Belvedere. That's super work. I think on the ground. Murphy out to ring. And now a knock on and another scrum. Well, if there's one thing we'd say about this game is there have been a little too many knock-ons. And although we're enjoying scrum time, we'd rather see the ball in play.
Yeah, there's a few of them, and I think, they can come down to the ball being a bit slippy. There's a lot of moisture on the grass, things like that, as well as then hands just being generally cold. And I think also a credit to both defensive lines, they're coming up and they're forcing those knock-ons too. When you're trying to gather a ball and there's someone up in your face, you can fumble it very, very quickly and very easily. So I think it's also a bit of credit to both defensive lines as well as that too.
Well, with the amount of rain that came down last night, 6 o'clock this morning, it was absolutely chucking it down. I think the ground has done very well to soak up that amount of water and still have what is, in effect, a super playing surface for rugby. Picked up by the number 8, and now it's shoveled out, and they really are trying to get their backs some space and some room. And on this occasion, Belvedere, well, they tried to snaffle it, and they couldn't get the ball cleanly, but the referee decided that Cooke was stopping them getting the ball cleanly, illegally, and that allows Gemma Farrell to look for touch, and it comes off her boot the wrong way. And that is not what she was looking for.
Yeah, bit of a rush kick there. I kind of think, and I think she's a bit frustrated with herself there. It's like that, an uncharacteristic mistake for herself as well. So, come back for the scrum here option. I think is what Cooke are going for. Yeah, they're going for the option where the kick ball was kicked from. So, it'll be a Cooke scrum from just in between the 22 and the 10-metre line.
Well, inside the 15 metres, there won't be much of a blind side here, but plenty of room, and you suspect that there won't be any kicking for distance here, but Cooke will try and drive it up and set up again, and looking for that break. But it's the Belvedere defence really that has been hunting down any Cooke player in possession of the ball, and they've done a very good job not allowing Cooke to get any continuity. Bit of shoving before the ball came in there, but it works on this occasion. Belvedere getting a good shove. Jenny Murphy picking up at the back. Well, I think she was looking for advantage, please, ref. But that worked very well. And Gemma Farrell gets an immediate chance for redemption.
Absolutely. Almost identical where she was, maybe a little bit more infield, but I'd say this one should be overly cautious now and just be happy to knock it out and just get a few more metres on the pitch.
Well, she'll be looking to put it inside the 22. And that she manages. About 15 metres out from the line. And a good attacking platform now for Belvedere.
Yeah, it'll be interesting now. We haven't seen many mauls being formed off line out, so we'll see if a maul comes off here from this one in this position. So it'll definitely be a position on the pitch for a maul for sure anyway, so we'll see if it comes off.
Well, Lisa Callan with ball in hand. She'll be looking for her jumpers. Beautiful ball to the back of the line out. It comes out to the back line very quickly. And it's, well, the referee's decided that is a knock on by Jenny Murphy. She did everything she could to disguise that as well.
She certainly did. And sometimes you get away with those things, but yeah, no, it was a knock on that one. And yeah, neither teams are using their mauls much tonight. So you wonder if it's something they're both sticking up their sleeves to later on in the game, or if it's something they're just both not confident with tonight. Either or, though, I think they definitely would work on evenings like this where the ball, you want to just keep it a bit tighter, a bit neater, and just get that ball moving towards the try line. Well,
Belvedere have benefited at any time play has sort of broken down and opened up. So you can see what Hayley's saying there, that perhaps a bit more control would benefit both teams. It's great to see them wanting to play expansive rugby down the back line. And again, Cooke bringing in the blindside winger and the fullback to try and give some room to the right winger to get around her opposition. She can't. She's hauled down by Megan Edwards, and the ball has come out. Oh, Jenny Murphy doing great work on the ground, making sure, securing that for Belvedere. And suddenly Belvedere going forward and making strides. Well, that's a shame. They've done all the hard work, and the winger just drifting a little bit too far forward, and the ball gets thrown into touch, and that will give Cooke possession as we come right to the end of this first half now. One suspects if Cooke win this line out, it might be the time just to put it back into touch.
Yeah, maybe. And I think that was just an unfortunate error there. I think Donnelly, you could see what she was trying to do, try to get Tilly into a bit of spaces. The space had been created from the great work rate there, from through the hands and that. So, you know, if it came off, I think Tilly could have been in for a second try of the night. But, you know, I think it's all these things where what if. So, you know, it's that this now is just how we react and how you bounce back from it.
I think both sides will benefit from the half-time hot whiskies. As the ref blows his whistle and gives another penalty to Belvedere, and they go quickly. They're not hanging around. Captain Leslie Ring driving into the 22, makes a ground. Farrell out along the back line, the two centres feeding the Anya Donnelly and Megan Edwards on the left wing. Cooke at this stage, I think, will be glad to hear the half-time whistle go. But it's not going to go yet. Another penalty to Belvedere. And they really are looking to enforce and score again before this half-time whistle goes. You will notice the clock has gone past 40 minutes. However, our TV clock, not the official one, and didn't stop when we had a break in play earlier when Katie Lady was down taking a breath of air.
Yeah, you can hear it there now. I think there's just an injury there to one of the Belleville players on the far side. Now I can't see who's down at the moment, but I think referees is happy there. Let's just call this for half time, get a bit of water on, get a bit of breath in, and let's get a bit of treatment on to the player who needs it.
Well, good decision from the ref, but a good first half for Belvedere. 3 tries?
3 tries, yep.
3 tries, 2 conversions. And a penalty.
Yep, there you go. So it was Ruth Campbell with the first try, converted by JJ, then a penalty by JJ. Try Tilly then afterwards, converted by JJ, and then a try by Winona, and conversion missed by JJ there in that one. So going into halftime, 22-0. I think Belvedere would be happy with that. They would have been, I think, a bit disappointed with the first kind of 10-15 minutes there, just a bit slow coming off the pace. But once then they got into the flow of things, they were slow to, they're hard to stop. So I think Cooke then just need to regather themselves, get a bit more composure, and go again, and take on defence as they were in the first half of the first half.
Well, Cooke will be extremely disappointed. There was a 10-minute passage in that first half where they conceded. Well, first of all, it was the penalty that Gemma Farrell slotted over, and then all of a sudden 2 tries.
Yeah, it was a blink of an eye. Suddenly, it goes from a 7-0 game to a 22-0 game like that in the space of about 10 minutes, and to then be able to react as they have and come back to where where Belvedere are struggling again to get past the defensive line. That's what you want from your teammates, is to pick the head back up and get going again. Last thing you need now is for the heads to drop further. So let's hope Cooke just pull up their socks and dig deep for the second half.
Well, as we said at the opening here, Belvedere third in the table at the moment with that 1 defeat to Blackrock, but a losing bonus point against Blackrock has ensured that, ironically, they're now a point ahead of Blackrock in the league table, up to third and behind the 2 unbeaten teams of Railway Union and UL Bowes. UL Bowes are here on the 2nd of December, and that will be a vitally important game for both Belvedere and for Bowes. And Cooke, well, they'll be looking to get away from the bottom of the table. Galwegians, Cooke and Wicklow yet to record a win in their first set of games, and then you move up to Suttonians, who have 2 wins from 5. Ballincollig 3 wins from 5. Blackrock and Belvedere with 3 wins from 4. And as I say, the 2 at the top, well, they're the ones the rest are chasing.
Yeah, you can see there's just an update there from the rest of the matches. Etonians, I think, was playing Blackrock. They were playing Blackrock today at home, or Etonians were at home, so it's currently 21-7 to Blackrock. They're leading them there, so 3 tries to 1, I'm guessing, on that one. So no other updates at the moment. I think Bowes won comfortably against Ballincollig. Wicklow Railway, there was question marks as to whether or not that match was going ahead this evening. I don't actually know if it did take place. I haven't heard anything further, but yeah, I think it's one of those evenings. I think with the rain falling, it's always hard to get the pitches, especially considering the amount of rain that's fallen in the last 2 to 3 weeks. It's a miracle that most of the pitches aren't underwater still, considering the amount that fell. So to get a bit of rugby going, and even to consider, like you said, how well this pitch is still holding up, considering all the rain, is fantastic. So
always well drained ground here at Ollie Campbell Park. Plenty of rugby played on this ground. And yet it still looks in great nick, and it has taken on board a huge amount of water, but no surface water, which I suspect there would have been very early this morning, but it's drained away quite nicely. Yeah,
it hasn't done too badly, all right. It's, normally you might see a bit of kind of soggy patches around even the sidelines and stuff, but there's really nothing, so it's great. And even the jerseys you can still see the numbers on the back of the jerseys, which is always a good sign as well. Makes it a lot easier to identify players and for the referee as well. So,
well, both sides huddled up, as much for communication as for warmth. And as I say, a good crowd down here to see this Old Belvedere women's first 15 as they progress through this league campaign. And of course, we'll be rapidly heading into December and then into the new year, into provincials down the line. It's non-stop really for these top players now, as it won't be too long before we suddenly find ourselves at Easter and the Women's Six Nations taking place again.
Absolutely, it's always a bit of a bumper calendar, and then you've got the Celtic Cup as well after Christmas too. So I think there's talks about actually entering 2 teams this year into it, so they'll be taking even further players as well around. So puts that bit of a stretch on teams, kind of backfilling positions and stuff like that. But it gives a lot of players great opportunities as well to step up. So it'll definitely be that time of the season is always an interesting one. You'll see some interesting results coming in. But I mean, that's what keeps the competition fun.
And that's exactly what you want, is competition. And if these girls can get more experience at a higher level, it only transfers back when they come back to their clubs and helps them with their teammates and raises the standard for everybody. So, yeah, that Celtic Cup will be looked forward to, as will the Six Nations. But right now, we're here at Ollie Campbell Park for this Division 1 game between Old Belvedere and Cooke. And it'll be Belvedere to kick off the second half, and we have 40 minutes ahead of us now.
Doesn't look like any changes anyway for Old Belvedere in the first half anyway. I mean, they've got a good experienced bench there with plenty of depth, so I certainly wouldn't be afraid of any changes coming in or any sort of nerves coming in off the bench. So I'd say it's just a matter of when and not if. So
in fact it will be Cooke who start the second half, spread out across the pitch. Very distinctive gear the Cooke players wear.
Yeah, it's good actually. It's nice. I always find the black, white and red is always a good colour, but I think they've clashed before with the Old Belvedere colours, but with the more red in them now, there's a nice good distinction between them.
Yes, I remember the first game I commentated on here. The referee made Belvedere wear their shirts inside out.
yeah, that happens.
Which, when you're trying to commentate by numbers, especially difficult. Right, well, play is underway in the second half. And immediately Belvedere decide that they're in the wrong half and they'd rather be down in Cooke's half of the field. And despite some of the Cooke players urging the ball carrier to hoof it down the field, they continue with the forwards making ground, taking on the Belvedere defence. Not so much trying to stretch it as trying to burst through it. But at the moment, well, you can see how well organised Belvedere are. Straight line across the pitch, 2 players in the backfield. But on this occasion, well, the referee stops the clock.
Yeah, Jenny Murphy could be in trouble on this one. It didn't look like a nice contact, and I think anytime you get a hit from Jenny Murphy, it's always going to look bad. So anytime it's even fractionally high, it can always look 10 times worse. But I think the referee rightly is showing more concern to the player on the ground than Jenny at the moment. But captain's been called in as well as Jenny, so let's see what the outcome is here.
Well, compared to our brethren in the Premier League football, when a player goes down, they stay still and they stay down. None of this rolling around and clutching heads and all the such like. There's no messing here. And in fact, the referee has shown Jenny Murphy a yellow card. She makes her way to the sideline. She'll spend 10 minutes trying to stay warm.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue too much with it now. I don't think we've a slow-mo of it here now, but it was a tough hit, and I think that's what they're kind of just trying to bring in at the moment. It's just that make sure you're hinging at the hips as opposed to just dropping the shoulder, because that's where the danger happens. And I do think then as well the ball carrier did drop her height as well, which makes it always a bit trickier then for the tackler. But in this day and age, it's just try and bend those hips a bit more and just get that bit lower.
Well, as we saw in the men's World Cup final with Sam Cane, there was no hinge at the hips, and he just went straight into the player. Contact with the head, and that was the first ever red card in a World Cup final. But you could see immediately why. Yeah. And the same has happened here. Yeah. Jenny Murphy just not hinging, not lowering her tackle height, and that's resulted in this penalty, which makes the touchline beautifully. And again, the Cooke out half, or the Cooke kicker, has done a super job. Each time she's got a penalty, she's managed to find the touchline and give her forwards something to work with.
Interesting now to see how Belvedere react now to 14 players. See how Cooke also utilised the extra player on the pitch as well. See if they kind of try and target that channel where Jenny would have been covering, as obviously she's a key defender as well as a key ball carrier. So interesting to see now how this all pans out.
Well, the line out is formed. The ball will come in. A nice bit of work by Boyce scrum half. And Belvedere, in their scavenging for the ball, have put their hands on the ground beyond the ball, not supporting their own weight. The referee very quickly and very correctly pinging them for that and giving Cooke a chance to establish a foothold deep in the Belvedere half now. And the left-footed kicker, well, she's helped by being left-footed down that side. And she brings that one to just outside the 22, which in its own way, possibly better than bringing it just inside the 22, which might allow Belvedere to kick for touch cleanly. Yeah, absolutely. So posing a different problem, giving themselves a bit more room to attack the Belvedere defence in. A small delay as we go without a ball.
Yes, so Belvedere's second penalty now and 3 minutes into the first half. So they just want to make sure they keep that in check. Last thing they need now is a second kind of binning for kind of infringements and that. So they need to just tidy up there a bit.
Well, that was super work in the line out. It wasn't the cleanest throw or jump or catch, but she managed to get it back on her side. This one goes through the hands and is picked up by Belvedere as it's loose on the ground. And a big boot into space. And suddenly Cooke find themselves back in their own half. They will get the line out, but after spending, 4 or 5 minutes desperately trying to advance a few yards, and we suddenly have the touch judge on our near side coming in to have a word with the referee. Suspected foul play, I think, Hayley.
Yeah, I think he's definitely spotted something there. He wasn't too happy with something coming around, so I didn't see it now myself, but we'll see what he has to say and see what the ref has to say as well.
No ruffling today, so we're having to do with lip reading, semaphore.
Put their backs
so
to
it's
us.
Over there, yes. So it is a penalty, and is he discussing a card, perhaps? I think the length of conversation would suggest that he wants to have a word with a specific player. He sent the touch judge off to go and find the spot and calls Captain Leslie Ring. And they'll have a chat, and they're pulling out one player for a word as well. Let's see, does the hand go into the pocket of the referee? The way it's loitering around that pocket, one suspects
Yeah.
after a long chat.
Seems to be
He's
penalty
explained
only.
the penalty anyway. It's a penalty only, but I don't think there's any doubt that the player is on her last warning. Whatever it was, she did do.
Yeah, something anyway that the touch judge wasn't happy with. So, we'll come back for a nice attacking position here for Cooke. So they'll be happy with that now, give them the second chance here in this position of the pitch, and try and see if they can get on the scoreboard.
The left-footed Maguire looking to take that one as tight to the line as possible. Gets it into touch. Just about 8 or 9 metres away from the Belvedere line. Well, this would appear to be Cooke's best chance of putting some points on the board that we've seen so far.
Absolutely. Now we'll see if there's a maul happening this time. Maybe we'll see. But I think that like that they're just trying to get that ball in, keep it tidy, keep it protected, and get some sort of an attacking platform from there.
Well, you did say it earlier that Belvedere were looking to get the ball away from the strength of the Cooke pack. Well, maybe this is the time for the Cooke pack to show that strength, and perhaps, as you were saying earlier, to form a maul from this line out and see how far forward they can take it.
Especially as well, Jenny in the bench as well. They'll have an extra body in that pack maul, so definitely be an option. There you go.
Well, they come to the front of the line out. It's nicely taken. They hang on to it. And that's exactly what they've done. They've gone for the drive. It's super work from Cooke. And they've broken away. And she's just 5 metres short of the line. They're halfway to their target. But the referee, he's not happy. Somebody getting hold of a player in that maul around the neck.
Yeah.
And once again, the way rugby is now, you cannot go above the shoulders.
Yeah, he's calling it just there a neck roll, I think, against number 2, Van Staden, I think is what he was saying there. So I think that's, as you're saying, you just can't go anywhere near it. If it's lost, you just kind of have to accept it. If it was lost there, they might have just had to play with it and had to clear their own lines, whereas now it's just giving back possession to Belvedere.
Well, change for Belvedere now. Number 19, Saoirse, well, you're going to have to pronounce that.
Caitlin Doran, no? Oh, yeah, sorry, 19 for
Belvedere.
Belvedere, yeah. Caitlin Doran's coming in there, yeah. So she's coming in for Katie Lade. Yeah, I think that Katie Lade being pinged there by the ref, I think it's a smart move to make that change.
Well, we did see the prop down earlier, and now Belvedere from that line out, and it's a superb break and into open field. Ball shipped on, still in support, might not be needed. Katie Corrigan takes it 40 yards all the way in, but super work by her midfield partner. Put her away, put her in the gap, and suddenly Cooke, well, we said they had a great opportunity, and it seems like only seconds ago they were but 5 metres away from the Belvedere line. But one infringement, one penalty, one line out, one try.
Yeah, I think that's to summarise it all right. And I think, once Monona's given a bit of space and once she has a bit of support in her, she will always make that pass, and she's a very selfless player in that, if there's someone in a better position than her, that ball is going to be going to that player without a shadow of a doubt. So having a player like her shooting up that centre of the pitch, that's who you want from your number 12, that one who's creating the space, creating the gaps, and giving that ball then to your offside or running off players.
Well, what was also most heartening was once she'd given the pass, my goodness, she kept going in an effort to provide support just in case it was needed. As it was, it wasn't. And another conversion for Farrell takes the score on to 29-0, and Cooke needing really for their own satisfaction, for their own, morale.
Absolutely, and that's the bonus try as well in the bag for Earl Belvedere, which is what they would have been hoping for in a day like today. Get that extra point on the board as well, keep them a bit further away from the likes of Rock and Ballincollig as well.
Well, it certainly keeps them a point ahead of Blackrock, no matter what happens in Blackrock's game. And this game really starting to open up now. A bit of tiredness creeping into the legs as we reach half an hour to go. But we're seeing far more of the ball in open play now. And gaps being exploited. And again, nice kick up the field. Oh, and again, Irvine's handling, just letting her down right when she needed to pick that one up smoothly. Scrum down to Belvedere, back near the halfway line.
Yeah, I think we've played a lot of rugby in around this area, and which is always a good reaction you see. And I think there's another substitute coming on here, so I think it's Katie Corrigan, the try scorer there, just coming off for Grace Tuddy, I think it is, coming in into the outside channel. Another player who's just electric, and once you get a bit of space, super strong. Always happy to kind of hit rucks, hit tacklers, hit ball carriers, whatever it is that needs to be done. She'll happily do it. A workhorse, if you might say.
Ideally, the sort of player you have on a team does all the dirty work. Might not make the headlines, but on this occasion, well, Katie Corrigan, she certainly did. Got the ball 40 yards out, and nobody was going to stop her from there. The defence had been breached, and she finished that off, and now she gets to sit on the sidelines and watch her teammates. And we wonder how long it will be before the yellow card is done and dusted.
Yeah, I can't say it being too long. I think it was 42 on the clock, so I'd say not much longer until they return to full 15.
Oh, Megan Edwards, she's had a very good game so far. Makes another 20 yards for a team. And now they're powering up the middle. You can just see that the tired legs in the Cooke side, slow to get back across the back line, and it's leaving gaps. The winger having to come inside, and now Donnelly gives it away, and it's out to the wing, and there's nobody between her, the try line, and in fact, she taps down, having made it a little bit easier for Gemma Farrell's conversion, but another 5 points go on to the board, and suddenly this looks like one-way traffic, which is surprising if you'd only watched the first 10 minutes of this game.
Definitely, and I think, Belvedere just kept their patience. I think they knew they had a few tricks up their sleeves. They knew they had a few more, extra long passes, whatever it was, switch lines, simple rugby that just opens up the pack and opens up the pitch. So I think it was just really a case of patience, waiting it out, tiring out the legs a bit, tiring out Cooke's defence, and then once the opportunities arise, they really have taken them with both hands on the ball, and they've just been happy to keep the scoreboard ticking over throughout the evening.
Well, we were saying at the end of the first half how unfortunate it was for Cooke that they had that 10-minute period in the first half where they went from 7-0 down to 22-0 down. But this second half has just been Belvedere. And Cooke don't seem to have an answer to it at the moment. And already, 12 points onto the board.
Not sure if the conversion went over or not.
Well, whether it did or not, Cooke, as I say, a bit of tiredness perhaps coming in, and one expects that they'll have a few off the bench soon enough in an effort to freshen up the side. But it's tough, really, for them. Belvedere, very quick to change the point of attack.
Yeah, conversion did go over there. Just got the confirmation there. So 36-0 now.
Well, Belvedere have done very well, but it doesn't feel like a 36-0 game. And again, super kick from Farrell. The defender couldn't take the ball cleanly, and that's given Belvedere a chance to really get up the field after them. Again, that's good work from Cooke. Powering through the first line of defence. Took 2 or 3 to bring her down. Again, you see how Belvedere are that line speed, but not only the line speed, but they've also got cover behind. And a little dink through from Cooke just shows that really they seem to be running out of ideas.
Yeah, I think they're just getting to that stage now where let's go around them or over them instead of through them, because going through them just doesn't seem to be working for them. Belvedere's defence has been really, really immense tonight. There's been very little errors, very little, if any, line breaks for Cooke this evening. And that's a massive credit to the work rate of all the defensive line in No Belvedere. There's there's no gaps, there's no opportunities being shown to them, so they're just happy to keep Cooke back on the back foot for the rest of the game, I'm sure.
Well, as I heard after the World Cup final, well, tries win your matches, but defences win your championships.
That's it, isn't it? It's only so many flash tries you can get, or this, that, and the other. But if you're leaking them, then what's the point then on that one?
Well, Belvedere pushing up through the forwards, looking to just create gaps later on. And that's a superb charge by Nevo Dowd, but unfortunately, she lost the ball, which meant no advantage, and the referee saying, well, there was a high tackle, the tackle didn't release, and I think he had another 2 or 3 reasons for giving a penalty there. My goodness, well, what driving this is. Callum with the ball, making 15, 20 yards, and now it comes across the back line, although it seems to be populated more with second row forwards than backs. And now Cooke have recovered the ball. They've done a good job there until the referee's whistle finds another infringement and a knock-on by Belvedere. Scrum down to Cooke.
Yeah, just unlucky there. I think Claude had done, I think just missed, came off her fingertips there. I think it was ball was a little unsympathetic towards her, so she was unlucky there. So then Emma Kelly had pounced on it. Would have been a legal turnover, I think the ref was saying, but just he was playing the advantage, so coming back for the penalty. I thought it was a knock-on, so yeah, just a knock-on. There he goes, come back for first scrum.
It was the way the Belvedere players all cleared out of the scene. Wasn't us, ref, wasn't us.
That's it.
They'll have to come back up now for this scrum. And we've had fewer scrums in this half than in the first half. But once again, Cooke find themselves deep in their own half of the ball. And even though they have the scrum, they have a long way to go to get back towards that Belvedere line. Well, the neutrals here, I'm sure, would love to see Cooke getting onto the board. But I suppose everybody connected with Belvedere, from the coaching staff to the players to the spectators, would love to see a clean sheet.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think there's always that thing of getting a clean sheet in the match. You know, you've all worked then just to make sure that you keep that clean sheet. As you know, it can always come down to points difference at the end of the season, and especially with such a tight competition.
Yes, the third and fourth places in this league often come down to such things as points difference. As Cooke finally make a break, they're through, and that's a super tackle. Great tackle by Tilly, bringing that attack, well, if not to a stop, then certainly to a point whereby they have to reset and go again. But a lovely breakout from their own half, and suddenly they find themselves back in Belvedere's half. But you can see how well organised Belvedere are. And this one, well, she's found a gap. Van Straten has gone through. The line is there for her. Can she get there in time? And she can. And Cooke finally crossed the line and score their first try of the evening. And that's a super try as well. Lots of ground made up. Just at one gap. Well, in fact, 2 gaps, because that move really started back in the Cooke 22. They made 1 gap there. Came up, reset, put the ball across the back line, found the next gap, and the try is scored. And I'm delighted for the Cooke side. They've deserved that. Their efforts have been wholehearted and, if not, properly rewarded.
Definitely. You can see there, I think it was a great line break initially from Tia Maguire. Just took that ball up, said, I'm going to do this myself. Up she went and went right up to the Belvo 10-metre line. Recycled that ball, kept it nice and tidy. Got pushed back a few metres, but then just recuperated and got that ball out wide. And Van Staden there was there to finish it off. And like that, she's so hard to take down when she gets any sort of pace on her. So not surprised to see her on the team sheet, the scoring sheet.
Well, part of the things I'm sure the Belvedere coaching staff will look at was, well, there were 2 or 3 tacklers there for her, but they all went up around her shoulders.
Yeah, that's it.
And on this occasion, they could have done with somebody going low, just taking her legs away, and even if Cooke were to retain the ball, you don't mind that, but they stop that rampaging run, and she could carry, well, 2 or 3 players on her shoulders. One suspects she has that power, and she showed it there, and that's a super try, and Cooke will be delighted with that. 3 points becomes 7 with the conversion, 36-7, and with just about 20 minutes to go in this game.
Good to see Cooke get that score. As like you were saying, it's they weren't overly threatening to get on the score sheet, but they definitely held their own. So you can't say it was of anyone's fault really. And I think it was like that. Tilly really tried to get that player down. Kelly as well trying to chase back, but just too powerful, Van Staden.
Super try for Cooke, puts them on the board and perhaps gives them more energy, more enthusiasm for the contest. Always helps when you show that you can score. If you can score one, why not two or three? Well, we'd certainly be suspecting that Jenny Murphy's enforced time on the sideline will be up soon. And Cooke again, gaining another penalty. Well, they're certainly gaining in confidence and gaining in ground now, as they have this one to push down the touchline.
Yeah, I think they made a replacement for Jenny Murphy. I don't think Jenny Murphy didn't come back on, but I'm trying to work out who did. I think Adon Murta's on, so that must be their replacement there. I think 18 is on. Yeah, I think that's what happened there, right? Because they're definitely back to 15. Yes, I think it's Adon Murta came on there. You can see number 16 as well, Hannah Wilson. I'd say she'd be coming in now for Lisa Callan would be my guess. Nivo Dowd. So Nivo Dowd's coming off there. So Nivo Dowd is off and Hannah Wilson is in.
Both sides now will be wanting to utilise their benches. Fresh legs, fresh energy. Belvedere now would really want to be the next ones to score. To allow Cooke to score one would be unfortunate. To allow them to score two, well, that really wouldn't be ideal.
No, definitely not. I think they'll want to try and keep that score now and keep it to where it is for Cooke anyway, and try and get a few more for themselves.
Well, knock on there, and the Cooke side will have the put in to this scrum. 15 metres in from the touchline, 10 metres away from the halfway line. Once again, amazing how many times play breaks down exactly on the line. Scrums have been well contested throughout. Neither side really getting the hand over the others. And even with the changes from the subs bench, the referee still looking for tight, good scrummaging. On this occasion, it goes down. He says nobody is to blame, pointing fingers at everybody, I think, rather than just one player. And he'll ask for that scrum to be reset. Usually, once the ball is away, the referee will just sort of ignore the problem and move on to the next one.
Exactly, yeah. So I think this as well. I think both teams just lost a bit of footing there. He's just moved it across 2 or 3 meters. So I'd say like that, the ground is probably definitely still soft under the foot, but certainly not being destroyed, which is definitely what you want to see.
And of course, plenty of changes in the front row for both teams. And it'll be Boyce now to put the ball in. And the referee really isn't happy. Plenty of changes in the Belvedere front row. As you can see, 16, 18, both in there now. Hannah Wilson, Edon Murta. The referee really having to, well, he did all the hard work in the first half, getting them to scrummage properly, scrummage high. And they're having to re-educate the newer players onto the field. Cooke number 8 picks up, gives it away. And they're all just a little bit too tight there. Nobody moving on to the ball. And that meant that Morton had to take the ball up herself rather than being the playmaker. And this time they go down the blind side. Lovely, quick hands, shipping it on. Oh, Boyce saw a chance down the blind side, but my goodness, that door was shut exceptionally quickly. And all she could do was be bundled into touch. You could see the idea she had, but there was no way through there.
Yeah, I think Belvedere did well there. They reacted, readjusted themselves, pushed it over and uncovered then that blindside wing, because it's many times you'll see in matches where they switch off on the blind side and kind of don't see it as a threat, and teams then bounce on that. But Belvedere managed to shut it down pretty quick.
Well, I think the referee's going to blow that one up for not being straight, going to the outside arm of Leslie Ring as she was lifted into the air. And unfortunately for Belvedere, they'll concede another scrum. Well, I think we've seen more scrums than anything else today.
I think so, and it's good. It's good that they're a good contest, anyways. Worse than having boring scrum time and a load of them happening. So it's good that they're a good, strong contest. But I actually think they're opting for the line out here.
Ball comes down, and the scrum half takes it away and looks for the gap. The line out to the out half had been well covered by the Belvedere line. When I say well covered, the referee says offside. We'll go with what he said.
I think it definitely looked quite quick. I think it was Ada Murta there that shot up, and just I think the ball had been played away from the line out quick enough for her to shoot up as quick as she did. So, it's all, like I said, it's all about painting that picture. And if you see someone shooting up, referee kind of says, where do they come from? So, it never looks good either on those situations. So unless you have a clear view, it's gonna probably go against you.
Well, as you said earlier, a lot of it is about the painting, the picture that you present to the referee. And you can be onside and just absolutely time it perfectly, and a referee will say, "There's no way."
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no way you're that good.
Yeah,
and penalise you for it. But on this occasion, I feel that yes, he got that exactly right. Another change on the Belvedere side as Rutley comes onto the field.
I'd say that's Callan now. Emma Kelly. So I'm actually getting this as Callan's still on. So it's Emma Kelly coming off there for Rutley coming in.
Well, the line out goes to the back of the line, and it is knocked on by Belvedere, and they are given Cooke a scrum inside the 22, giving them every opportunity to try and probe this Belvedere defence once more.
Yeah, you wonder now if Cooke will just try and keep this in the scrum. If they get a dominant scrum, and they've got numerous of them across the match, you wonder now if they'll just keep ploughing through and see if they can get it over. I mean, they're still a good, I'd say, 7-8 meters out from the try line, but stranger things have happened.
Well, I'd be very surprised if they tried to push over from here, and in fact, no, the number 8 picks up, goes to ground, beautiful cover tackle by, and in fact, they've earned the penalty as they try and get over that ball and are prevented from doing so by the Cooke players. And he's having a very severe word now with the Cooke player on the ground. Oh, ref let her, helps her up. There we go. Sends her back the 10 metres, has the word, doesn't feel it needs any more than that.
That's it. I think it was just that kind of holding her down exactly. So I think it was Ruth Campbell like that. It's her experience and her skills just always allow her just to get over that ball. She's extremely athletic, the likes of herself with the speed and skills. I think she might have played in the back line at some point in her career. So, she has the abilities to give that ball when she needs to break a line if she needs to. So having her in the back row was fantastic. Second row.
Well, Campbell it is who takes the throw in. It comes back down. They drive into the crowded of players. It's Leslie Ring who carries the ball carrier forward. And again, making yards, breaking the gain line. All good from Belvedere. Again, attempting to take the players on. Referee, I think, has called another high tackle. As Donnelly stays on her feet, she's done very well, giving her support, plenty of time to come up. And now, beautifully done. They've outflanked the winger, but the cover comes across, and Edwards has to go to ground. But again, Belvedere keeping the ball. Cooke player who was injured, making her way back across the line, and she may find that she's in business again here now as the ball goes out the back and across the back line. Forwards and backs mixing beautifully. Good tackle again. Now taken on, seeing the gap, seeing the space that they were given. Callan keeps going. She's made 30 yards, 30 metres, but then the ball has come out on the Cooke side by hook or by Cooke. And another referee's whistle, bringing that part of play to a finish. And one thinks it could be the number of bodies that are lying on the ground around. And as I said, the timeliness is coming in, and we're into pretty much the last 10 minutes now.
Yeah, it was a great line there from Callan. She just kept driving, kept the legs going, knew she had it in her, and she just kept powering through and just brought down there eventually, and I think just got injured in the process. So 2 subs we made for Belvedere, so it's 22 coming in. Vanessa Hullen, great to see her back in the senior setup after her sickness last year, and just replacing Emma Tilley. And number 20, Charlotte Nagels, coming in there to replace the scrum half, Jade Gaffney. So 2 strong number 9s there for Belvedere to choose from. I mean, Jade's, again, also both of them very young prospects as well. So Jade, the quality of her passing coming off the back of her ruck is phenomenal. The speed and the accuracy, as well as the vision she has, is incredible, especially for a player of her age. So definitely one to watch, and great to see again that future of Irish rugby's in safe hands.
Another player coming off the bench, Vanessa Hullen. She's playing at full-back, taking up her space there. One feels she'll be into the action sooner rather than later.
Yeah, you can see Emma Kelly there as well. Just took back off her coat. I think they might have been afraid that Callan had to come off, but I think she seems to be okay. I mean, for a hooker to have been playing 72 minutes and to still go and then to make a line break, I think is always a tough feat, especially considering the amount of scrums that have been played this evening. You know, I think definitely there's going to be some sore necks tomorrow morning.
Well, obviously the pre-season fitness work is paying off at this stage as well.
Yeah.
Both sides, well, with 10 minutes to go, digging into the reserves of energy that they may have. And the referee has called for medical attention on the Cooke side. And it's a shoulder. Ella Garland clutching at her left shoulder, and that doesn't look good from a Cooke point of view. She's been one of the, I suppose, standouts for the Cooke pack today.
Absolutely, and you can see as well, you know, the ref was on that pretty quick, blew it pretty quick, so there must have been a bit of a yelp of discomfort coming out as well, which is never what you want to see in any match at any stage. So hopefully she's okay, and it's just a bit of a stinger.
Oh yes, as you say, the referee, player safety being absolute paramount, and he obviously heard a noise of some description that made him realise just the level of pain that Ella Garland was in, and he immediately called for somebody off the sideline, and this will involve another change and the return of the try-scoring hooker, returning to the fray, bit of a limp herself.
Yeah, I think bodies are just sore now, and I'd say Van Staten was delighted now just to get a breather on the bench and then to come back on. I'd say she's only off the pitch 3 minutes and back in again, but you know, you can't help these situations. So hopefully now that Garland's okay so her arm kind of being held up by her jersey there. So hopefully all is okay.
Well, that's often the sign of a medic treating a dislocated shoulder or a collarbone.
Yeah.
We hope it's neither of those things, and in fact it is, as you said, Hayley, just a stinger where coming into the scrum it's just the impact has caused a nerve to react. Let's hope so. Cooke will be looking for her return in the next game they have. I believe Wicklow, is it they're playing next?
Wicklow next, yeah. So both teams are playing next week. So Cooke are playing Wicklow, and Belvedere have Railway next week. So two good contests. Cooke, Wicklow both looking for their first win, and Belvedere, Railway both then pining for that second, third spot.
Well, Railway at home, they'll be formidable. And if Belvedere can inflict a defeat there, it will be a massive shake-up to the league. And now, again, we see... Oh, nicely picked up just inside the line, trying to keep the ball alive. Other players may have let that go into touch and gone from set piece to set piece. But Belvedere keen, especially the new players onto the field, to show what they can do, and they want the ball in hand. And it's shipped across the back line again. Oh, just if she'd held on to that for a second longer, the gap was there. And now through, and beautiful support. And this time, well, that's the reward she deserved for the break she made for the earlier try.
Absolutely, and you can see there as well, Monona, she'll always be there and support, left shoulder, right shoulder, wherever you need her to be, Monona will be there. And her fitness is always something as well. She plays with the Swedish international team, and she's just incredibly fit. 76 minutes in, and she's still there looking for that offload for that try opportunity. So great finish by herself, and like you said, well deserved.
Yes, great work. Not satisfied with just giving the pass to put the player away. She insisted on staying up in support, and it paid off as the pass came into her. She got to touch it down, and that is Belvedere's sixth try.
Yeah,
a good evening for Belvedere. Yes, that next round of games for Cooke, Wicklow, two sides, neither of which have recorded a victory so far, and that will be a very competitive game as both sides would love to get off the mark.
Definitely. So another good kick there from JJ. So that brings the total up to 43.
43-7 as we go into the last 3 minutes of this game. Well, they've enjoyed this game. Belvedere, well, they've been slightly more clinical when it comes to making the most of breaks, and they've scored a couple of good tries with line breaks. But, well, I don't think Cooke are too far away from being a match for Belvedere as they were a couple of years ago. Anya Rutley making good yards. Unfortunate not to be in the starting 15 after a performance a month ago. And again, Farrell spreading it out, and those gaps starting to appear. Tackles just a little bit too high. I'd like to see more of the Cooke players taking the Belvedere legs and stopping them get those extra 10, 15 metres after the first collision. And on this occasion, it's plunged through into the Cooke 22. And let's be honest, when you're, 36 points ahead with 2 minutes to go, then you want Cooke to be as close to their own try line as possible from a Belvedere point of view.
Absolutely, and that's, they want to keep them camped in there, finish out the game. You can see Lisa Callan now is finally leaving the field now in the 78th minute, which is a phenomenal feat for any front row, especially considering the amount of scrums that have been played today, and tense, physical scrums. Certainly no one side being dominant in any capacity. So.
And certainly considering how many times we've substituted her. Yeah. Every time somebody went on the field, we assumed it was for Lisa. But no, she's seen them all off, and she manages to get there to the 78th minute. And Belvedere take the line out, and it's stolen by Cooke. Super play. Still life in Cooke. They still would love to go the length of the pitch for one more try. They go across the line, and they're running into the defenders, looking desperately to create a gap somewhere, and there's a gap in the line, but it gets closed rapidly. Just Leslie Ring putting in a fine tackle just to close that gap. And again, Cooke doing their best, trying to desperately get through this Belvedere defence, and Belvedere will be absolutely delighted the way their line speed is such that Cooke are having no chance of making considerable ground.
Yeah, considering they started just inside their 22, they've gone through about 10 phases here, and they're still at their 22. So it's again phenomenal defence from Belvedere.
Well done, Donnelly puts the tackle in on the wing up, and the ball goes loose, and the player goes into touch, and that will be a Belvedere throw as we reach 80 minutes on our clock. But as I say, that's not the official clock. The ref has had a couple of occasions where he has stopped his watch.
Yeah, hasn't been too many options. So I'd say probably maybe another 3 or 4 minutes maybe, but nothing too substantial anyway.
I don't think there's enough time to change the result of this game. There certainly is time to change the score as Leslie Ring. Oh, what a beautiful sidestep at the 22. She'd beaten a couple of players just with pace, but then off her right foot, beat another one, and the ball goes wide, and surely Belvedere will be in here. Donnelly passes it on, and Holland, having only been on the field a couple of minutes, gets in for the try, and that takes the score up to 48-7. And Gemma Farrell will have a kick for the post to bring up the half century for Belvedere, which is a bit unfortunate for Cooke.
Absolutely, but fantastic try there from all Belvedere. You could see Leslie there just stepping in the Josh van der Fleer role, stepped in there as hooker at the line out time, then came around for that wraparound ball, gave a nice ball in, came back in then to receive it back in the line out, and managed to spread that ball out wide. There was numbers outside. Great to see Holland back on the scoring board as well. It's, you know, that's the electricness that she can bring to the game, so it's just fantastic to see her back in her stride.
Well, she was the beneficiary of some super play, and starting it all off was Captain Leslie Ring. As you say, she came around the back of the line out and managed to beat 2 or 3 tired tackles. But then at the 22, put in an absolutely fabulous sidestep, confused the defender, got past there, and then when she did go to ground, the ball was spread wide. And that conversion, well, it's the last kick of the game. And Belvedere have recorded a bonus point win, which is exactly what they needed to do in the context of the league. But for their own satisfaction as well, they've had a super game. 7 tries they've scored to Cooke's 1. And Belvedere finishing just 2 points of the half century. Good, solid performance from old Belvedere.
Absolutely, and you know, like I was saying at the end of the first half, you know, they were patient and they didn't panic in the first half when things weren't going their way. They knew if they just dug deep, kept the heads on, kept going with their game plan, they knew the results would come, and that's exactly what happened. So, you know, it was slow to get off the mark initially then, but once they did, you know, it was a bit of a gap between the plays, but once then that penalty came, and then, you know, if you can see 10 points in the space of 2 minutes, it's always hard to kind of rally back. And I think, you know, Cooke then they really tried to dig their heels in deep, but Belvedere just really outplayed them on the evening.
Well, normally at this stage of a game, you'd be naming player of the match, but I have to say, from my point of view, that was an all-round team performance. Nobody actually stood out head and shoulders above anybody else, but nobody was left behind either.
Absolutely.
Everybody played their part.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ruth Campbell was fantastic. Having her back in the squad was brilliant. Monona getting 2 tries and setting up another one was also brilliant. You know, and Tilly as well with 2 tries. You know, you just see that back line is really starting to click. They're really starting to make the headway, and, you know, even the likes of then Callan staying on and for the full 76 minutes is also a fantastic feat in itself. And, you know, I think, like you said, a team performance all around.
Well, as the teams traditionally thank each other for the game and they leave the field, we'll just remind you that the next game for Old Belvedere is next Saturday down in Park Avenue, in the home of Railway Steam Packet Union.
That's it.
To give them their full title. And it will be interesting because that will be second against third in the table, and a vital game certainly for Belvedere if they'd like to pull Railway back to the pack.
That's it, you know, and like that, Railway Belvo is always one of the clashes of the season. It is a fantastic game. Again, similarly, if they're one team's top and one team's bottom of the table, you will even have a fantastic clash of heads there in this one. So, you know, as a neutral or anyone else, you know, you definitely would want to be getting down to see that game.
Yes, Park Lane it will be next Saturday for Belvedere, whereas Cooke, well, they'll be playing Wicklow.
In Wicklow, I believe. 2
away games in a row for Cooke. That's tough. But one hopes that they'll make the journey and will enjoy their game down there. But for tonight, we'd like to thank you for joining us as Belvedere run out 48-7 winners against Cooke in this AIL Division 1 game. Many thanks to Hayley for joining us today, and to our technical team, Emma and Niall, and our camera people who had to stand outside in the cold while we got to sit inside in the warm with our Irish coffees. So thank you very much for joining us, and certainly that'll be, we'll see you again here on Old Belvedere's YouTube channel on the 2nd of December. And that again will be an absolutely vital game in terms of this league, this season's league. So thank you very much for joining us, and we will leave you now with the pictures of the Old Belvedere team with their post-match chat. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Every used car has a story. At Windsor Certified, all ours have a happy ending. Buy used with confidence. Windsor, drive happy.